You were right last stream, by the way. More market manipulation from Trump. Deal with U.S. not imminent, Iran says. Yeah, more market manipulation. Price of oil dropped, etc., etc. But this one was, in my opinion, particularly funny. Like the way in which Trump pulled the rug for the 50th time this time was really, really, really funny because now he's arguing explicitly, and I really can't believe this is the direction that he's going, that no deal with Iran until every Arab country signs the fucking Abraham Accords, which is insane. Like, we were just watching that goddamn, not Dave Rubin, what's the other fuck? Not Michael Knowles, what's the other fuck? That other guy talking about how, guys, Trump definitely isn't Israel's bitch. Benny Johnson, thank you. And now Trump posts this fucking behemoth of a Truth Social where he's like, no, 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 actually, I refuse to unfuck the Strait of Hormuz until every country on earth acknowledges the state of Israel. God almighty, look at this! Negotiations with the Islamic Republic of Iran are proceeding nicely. It will only be a great deal for all or no deal at all. Back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever before. And nobody wants that. During my discussions on Saturday with President Mohammed bin Salman, a wide variety of figures with names of varying pronounceability, I stated that after all the work done by the United States to try to pull this very complex puzzle together, it should be mandatory that all of these countries, at a minimum, simultaneously sign on to the Abraham Accords. Unbelievable. Genuinely, truly unbelievable. Like how susceptible this man is to Netanyahu. Just literally, like Lindsey Graham went in there and did one little like Southern hoopla for him. And that's all it took. Oh, this deal? No, 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 no. Every single one of you has to... The Israelis are warning they're about to airstrike Beirut. For every drone used on Israeli soldiers, 10 buildings in Beirut will fall. This is being talked about in Israeli media, not a single mention in American media. This is obviously Israel trying to collapse the talks. Israel doesn't even need to strike Beirut to collapse the talks. Trump's doing fine on his own. He's explicitly stating there will be no deal until every one of these countries sign the Abraham Accords. What the fuck? Those countries discussed are Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain. It may be possible that one or two have a reason for not doing so, and that will be accepted, but most should be ready, willing, and able to make the settlement with Iran a far more historic event than it would be otherwise. The Abraham Accords have proven to be, for the countries involved, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, and Kazakhstan, a financial, economic, and social boom, even during this time of conflict and war, with the current members never even suggesting leaving or taking so much as even a pause. It'll be a document respected like no other has ever been signed anywhere in the world. Its level of importance and prestige will be unparalleled. It should start with the immediate signing by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Saudi Arabia responded to this, by the way, saying, fuck no. Like, we will drag our balls through the glass for the United States to some extent, but we are not signing the fucking Abraham Accords. Document signed. In speaking to numerous of the great leaders mentioned above, they would be honored as soon as our document is signed to have the Islamic Republic of Iran as part of the Abraham Accords. Me, when I want Iran to control the Strait of Hormuz until the next century. I think Iran should sign the Abraham Accords, actually. Me, when I'm trying to make a deal. I think it would be bigly if they signed on as well. If they acknowledged Israel. Just sign the Abraham Accords, bro. This will be the most important deal that any of these great but always in conflict countries will ever sign. Nothing in the past or in the future will surpass it. Therefore, I am mandatorily requesting that all countries immediately sign the Abraham Accords, and that if Iran signs its agreement with me as President of the United States of America, it would be an honor to have them also be part of this unparalleled world coalition. We might as well just nuke the strait at this point. Mandatorily requesting. We should, like, I don't know what we could do to more fuck this situation. Read this if you want to laugh. Netanyahu admits difficulty influencing Trump decisions on Iran. Oh, it really shows. It really shows. If anything, it shows just how fucking entitled Netanyahu feels, that even with this degree of, like, permanent Israeli rape on the mind and body of the American people, that he's still complaining he doesn't have enough influence. Like, Trump is straight up saying, I want Iran to sign the Abraham Accords as a precondition for this deal, and Netanyahu's still bitching. All they do is bitch. It's all they know how to do. Bitch and whine. No fascist government has ever been this whiny. I genuinely think that, like, earnest diplomatic efforts with Nazi Germany would have yielded more rational diplomacy from their people than we get right now from Israel. I genuinely don't know if there's ever been a government connected to the West that has ever been this openly anti-rational. It's insane. Nothing is ever enough for them. Fucking Abraham Accords, man. Jesus Christ.
This ceremony will take place just hours after President Trump addressed ongoing talks to end the war with Iran. In a Truth Social post, he said all Middle East nations are taking part in discussions should, quote, immediately sign the Abraham Accords or not be part of the deal. Yesterday, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could be reached soon.
We're still a work in progress. As I said, we thought we might have some news last night. Maybe
Men of the West, is this how you think we ought to look wearing white dress shirts? Look at this. It's fucking disgusting.
I wouldn't read
Does this look good to anyone? Is there a single person on earth who thinks this looks fashionable?
Into it. It takes a little while to hear back. So we have what I think is a pretty solid thing on the table in terms of their ability to open up the straits, get the straits open, enter into a very real, significant, time-limited negotiation on the nuclear matters. As the president said, he's not in a hurry. He's not going to make a bad deal. I mean, the president's not going to make a bad agreement.
But the Iranian regime
He'll
is
go
tempering
along with whatever he wants,
expectations
or whatever Trump wants, as long as he gets Cuba.
of a solidified deal. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said today the Trump administration is causing, quote, problems and obstacles with frequent changes in positions and contradictions. Meanwhile, CBS News senior White House reporter Jennifer Jacobs is exclusively reporting that Iran's supreme leader is currently holed up in an undisclosed location. U.S. officials say he has little access to the outside world and can only be reached by couriers. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian joins me now from the White House with more on this story.
It's still crazy how Iran is the rational actor in this. Again, at the end of the day, it comes down to economics. Iran has a real, rational, invested interest in its own continuity because Iran is a real country with real people, with real economics. Their money and their wealth and their interests and everything are tied up in real physical things and services and transactions, and as a consequence, they are interacting with reality. America is almost entirely speculative at this point. Everything in America is a phantom. Nothing happens here. There are no goods or no services. If you think you recently purchased something from a store, you're wrong. You didn't. You actually speculated on it. Nothing here is real. So, naturally, everyone in power is completely detached from reality. What are you going to do?
So, Nicole, what are we hearing with that possible deal with Iran? What is the White House saying here? And what's actually in that draft?
Well, again, I think we're still in this mode.
Is there any point to invading Cuba? Yeah, it'll get Marco Rubio's dick hard. What do you mean? Are they just desperate to have seen as having done a good war? No. They just want to kill people. Marco Rubio just wants to kill people.
Deal or no deal, what we do know is that it appears that both the U.S. and Iran have reached some consensus around a few principles, if you will. In fact, just yesterday, a senior administration official said there wasn't an agreement in principle between both sides, although overnight Iran said no deal is imminent. But what we have learned, according to a draft of a memorandum of understanding that we have reviewed, is that the general outlines of this deal would be, for instance, that Iran, of course, must commit to giving up its nuclear weapons. That has been a key objective of the president. Of course, this would also be on the condition of having a 60-day extension of the current ceasefire so that the U.S. and Iran could negotiate the parameters, if you will, of how, for instance, Iran might dispose of its enriched uranium.
Western media continues to talk about this deal as though it's a real thing. If there was ever actually going to be a deal on the table, Trump would never mention the Abraham Accords. What an insane thing to mention right now. He only brought it up. He only remembered they existed because Netanyahu told him to. There is no deal. There will never be a deal. Nothing is real. It's all over. It's already over. It's the insistence from Western media to treat this as though it's a real negotiation and not toddlers playing in a liquid pile of their own feces. It's just, it's insufferable. You're actually made stupider. Like, the normie, uneducated opinion on this, which is that Trump is just a pedophile who has no idea what he's doing, is much closer to the truth than what you would get by being a midwit watching CNN or MSNBC or whatever all day. Do you believe there will never be a deal, though? I mean, the Strait of Hormuz the conditions there have to change at some point, but it's very obvious that Trump is not engaging in behavior that is designed to open the strait right now. Like, the conditions will change eventually, but I think that America and the West broadly might have permanently ceded power in the region. I don't know if I don't know if that'll change, like, at all. It's possible that it's just a new normal. There will never be a return to normalcy.
So that is one part of this. And then the other condition to this is that Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and that in turn, the U.S. would likely lift its blockade on Iranian ports. Also, Iran, U.S. and allies agreed to end all military operations and refrain from threats and using force. So those are some of the terms according to this MOU. But again, still remains unclear how close the U.S. and Iran may be to signing some type of deal. As I mentioned, Iran has already said that nothing is imminent. And even U.S. officials acknowledge that if a deal is finalized, it could still take a matter of days because, to your point, with respect to our reporting around the Supreme Leader, he is holed up at an undisclosed location. So any sign-off, of course, has to go through him. But just the process of reaching him through this series of couriers could take some time to convey the terms of this deal, to get approval or not get approval, and then to communicate that back to the United States. So there's still a lot of moving pieces and parts here, but certainly the good news is that
pension fund assets to GDP for China. I was worried for a second because I can see the line climbing, but then you take a look at the damn Y-intercept. Look at that, man. Remember, in the United States, retirement assets make up $50 trillion, or about 170% of the total GDP. Here's pension fund assets to GDP for China. Pretty big increase, right? Well, right now it's at 2.2%. Line has gone up to a sweltering 2.2%. Their money's actually moving around. God bless them. No wonder they've managed to lift so many people out of poverty. 2.2%. Jesus Christ. How do you hear all this and not get hopelessly depressed? Because I live for my own enjoyment and I don't attach my personal emotional well-being to the goodness or badness of news that you see in the newspaper. You might have the best day of your life the same day nukes fall on Washington. You might have the best day of the best day of your life when the nukes fall. You might have the worst day of your life when Trump, has a heart attack. You got to live for your own sake. Learn how to cook.
Both sides still appear to be talking.
Nicole, just want to ask you quickly what lawmakers, particularly Republicans, are saying about this potential deal. What would make this a success?
Yeah, that's right. Well, there has been some pushback from lawmakers, even within the president's own party, from the likes of Senator Lindsey Graham, although ultimately he says he supports the president's objectives here, to folks like Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina are among those who have been kind of critical of this deal. The big concern here is that obviously everyone wants to get out of this war, but there is concern that in terms of the terms of this deal, will this be any better, for instance, than what the Obama administration negotiated previously in terms of the JCPOA, which, of course, the Trump administration got out of that agreement. So was it worth having this war just to get back to the point where we were previously? That's really the general concern that both Republicans and Democrats have expressed. However, the president has really pushed back at his critics, in some cases calling them losers, saying they don't know the terms of this deal.
Okay, Nicole Killian at the White House, thank you. And a reminder, we'll show you live coverage of the president marking Memorial Day in Arlington, Virginia, once that wreath-laying ceremony begins. And for more now on the back and forth with Iran, we're
Hey, Chanel, good to be with you. What is Iran saying? That is the question. Look, Iran is essentially pumping the brakes on things a little bit. Over the weekend, it really felt like a deal was imminent, that they were going to sign something. And then
it really didn't. It really didn't. Literally at no point did Iran say they were even interested in making this deal. At no point was there ever a deal on the table. It was all made up, and you perpetuate this lie.
Next 24 hours or so. And now it feels like we might not see something happen until the end of the week. But as you were saying in your introduction, our Jennifer Jacobs has some really interesting reporting about why things are moving so slowly from the Iranian front. And a big part of it has to do with its supreme leader. You'll remember the former supreme leader was killed on the very first day of this war, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. His son was installed soon afterwards. But we haven't seen Mujtaba Khamenei at all. We haven't seen from him. We haven't heard from him. All we've had is written statements read out loud on state TV. And in Jennifer's reporting, we've basically found that essentially he is being sent communication through a series of couriers, which is why it takes a while for him to respond to it. That said, I've been hearing from my sources inside Tehran that so far, anyways, the supreme leader is responding relatively positively to many of the things that are being agreed. But
Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, based on my sources. Yeah. You know, he's cool with it. Yeah. Fucking ridiculous, man. Watching this stuff just makes you stupider unless you have the right framework for analysis. Just makes you stupider. Christ alive. Are there any terms Iran would actually agree to? I don't know. You ask Khamenei. What am I, psychic?